This episode of The Wild Man, Oh Yeah, comes to you with a viewer discretion warning. This shit's enough to make anybody paranoid, so viewer discretion is advised. I'm going to go forward here. You can see my pretty face in my homeless beard here. I'm growing it out in solidarity and support because we still don't have a package to Congress. All I've heard is a bunch of fucking smoke being blown up everybody's ass. Today I was going to talk about Governor Sisolak's ad. It was over a month ago. It was publicized Channel 3 and Channel 5 on the written press on the internet. I got it through my Google search engine. I don't have the exact reference in front of me because I'm right now. I just wanted to get this up in a rush. I got people threatening to kill me as per usual. But anyways, Sisolak had actually had a brief press release where he went and got himself photographed by one of his ad people, with a musician in the background at a dinner table. This is pretty common. Our politicians have become nothing really but ads, and generally for campaign donations. I'm not saying it's necessarily bad or good, it's just the way the system works. But it's very much developed into a pay-for-play system. I'm not certain it's ever been any different in the United States, which is one of the reasons why I ended up in this primary originally and in the friendly. In retaliation, I got a family member who's been threatening to kill me. Same thing as usual. It's my father. He's an administrative law judge with the state of Wisconsin. The federal government's been covering up, child abuse by him, my mom. Now it's him and my stepmom who are threatening to withhold the in-kind maintenance support that I depend upon as a disabled person that cannot work. I was applying for a second master's of business administration and economics, which I was going to do part-time to help supplement my income and see if I could pick up some part-time work in statistical research, which I have multiple good leads on, and start up my own record company. I don't really want to run for political office, and I'm hoping with the change, the elections and the changes that are coming in the country that maybe things will improve. It's not likely going to, but you try to hold out hope and be positive, even though realistically, you got to fight every step of the way still. So I was left with some brain damage growing up, and the government's continuing to cover it up because both of the employees involved were employees of the state of Wisconsin. One of them found in closed process. My mom, who was a kindergarten teacher in Milwaukee for decades, had been involved in it, and they're not going to give her license back, but she still teaches privately up at the Audubon Society. My father's still working for the state of Wisconsin. I filed another report with the FBI today because of the death threat. It's been part of the difficulties. I think he and my stepmom, my father's Stanley Michaelstetter, my stepmom would be Donna Graves. This is how they wanted to get attention, so we're just going to publicize it and let everybody in the United States know they're threatening to leave me homeless overnight because, they guess have a wedding coming up. I've seen these people once in a decade. The federal government is basically requiring them to pay in lieu of Social Security. We've established that. We've had to call the FBI now on them twice. I've had them in close process with the state of Wisconsin. They did nothing. Been through family therapy, relationship therapy. They retaliated against the family therapist, which they were paying for apparently to get me treatment for the injuries they were giving me. And then, they retaliated against both of us when she was actually doing the job. And then, want to be isolated and lonely in life. So that's kind of what they do, and they're going to kill me to get that. I guess the other part of it is I did want to talk a little bit about the Social Security proposal that was up there. That is real. And some of the ladies in my neighborhood here have asked me if that's real. That is indeed real. It's actually a mainstream program that was proposed by the monetarists. And there's about 3% difference between me and a guy like Alan Greenspan, who's politically diametrically opposite in the field of economics. We disagree. We agree about 99% and disagree about 1%. Really through about 3 percentage points of inflation through the Federal Reserve. But we found that what we can do is have the Federal Reserve actually pay for the retirements of all Americans by putting a seed of $10,000 in every American's account where it was a birth certificate opened up or somebody naturalized, and then allow that to grow. In 18 years, it's worth about $1 million, and by age 30 or 30 years later, it will be worth about $2 million. Well, you can't allow the government, people to take the money away from the Social Security account. The government needs it to work with and invest. They can pay you out of the residual income. This is very similar to what they do with the monarchies in Europe, where the crowns actually invest on behalf of the people, even though they have no political power anymore. They're wealthy, and they say, well, we take care of the people, which is what the crown is supposed to do in those countries. And so they invest it, and they have a lot of say in getting, environmental regulation and things like that, because they actually own the companies for the people of their countries, like Sweden and Norway. Luxembourg is one of the countries I'm talking to, too, that has programs like this. Instead of doing a work program, they pay their citizens generally to do their own business. And you get to own your own business. You just have to agree to do something for the government, which I could do. But the U.S. government's been blocking me from negotiating with them, and they keep trying to force me through a process with them, and I'm not, they're just basically going to kill me, is what's going to end up happening. I can't be in a homeless shelter again. This will be the third time that my family and the U.S. government's left me homeless to cover up these allegations. These guys have been injuring me for decades. I report it. We've gone through the Social Security proceeding. Nobody does anything with the federal government, nothing, which is the reason why I ended up in the primary. I've been threatened by the representatives' campaign staff. We don't need you after 2 years, and if you're going to argue with us, we don't need you at all. You have to come through our office. I'm wondering at what point there was an oversight at all. I mean, we've been doing this for a decade, and it's gone through Eric Swalwell's office in California when I was out there. So basically, they're forcing me out overnight with no guarantee of any income. I have diabetes along with paranoia and schizophrenia. Like I said, I have serious brain damage. It makes me very smart on one hand, but on the other hand, it makes me almost dysfunctional at work. I don't know when I'm going to be asleep or awake. It's not something that's controllable. I have basically all the parts of my brain that regulate sleep are knocked out or dysfunctioning one way or the other. And they're just torturing me with this. I'm a 45-year-old man, and I'm being still continuously treated like I'm somehow a teenage runaway, or I have 3 college degrees, a master's in music to go with the double major in music and economics, and they basically got to get me to work because somehow it was my work ethic in life. I have an opera written, and these guys can't leave me alone long enough to finish anything. This is the third time now I'm going to be left homeless. My mom did it once, my dad did it now once, and then he's going to do it another time here too. I don't know what to say. I'm not fit for a shelter or anything else. I've been through the county programs. We're arguing about it. I'm not going back into them from this position. So I'm going to go ahead and post a video up on YouTube and let everybody know what happened. There's comments. Please check the comments all the way through. I was playing with a thought experiment and making art out of the election and the primary coming up. I don't know what to say. I mean, the problem is like anytime I try to publish anything, these guys threaten to kill me. So we're just going to go ahead and publish the death threats with it. I don't really know what else to say. I really appreciate everybody taking the time tonight to stop by. I really feel awful. I'd like to present myself in a positive life, but nobody's going to allow me to do anything healthy. I think my plan right now is if I can't get anywhere else, I'm just going to walk up to a national forest with a sleeping bag and just likely die there. I don't know what else to do. I will try stopping by the Mexican embassy on my way out of town. I'm putting up posts with The Economist, with Economics Explained. I'll likely put up a post with Vice. I've had invitations to teach in China, just teach music. It was harmless, and they'd put me on a state salary to do it. Russia, I had an offer through a history professor. We had a mutual contact with. He's guy's now a teacher, but they offered to allow me to teach music history or study music history in Russia, 20th century composers. And under Stalin, the guys basically had to have 2 doctoral degrees, one in music and one in the law to defend themselves. And I thought it was really interesting. And these were, again, legitimate work offers. And they're trying to block me and knock me out on the street to prevent me from taking it. They tried to force me into election, and then they're going to try to force me out of the district so I can't follow through with the primary, even as a friendly. I'm not certain really what to do anymore. I take these threats on a monthly basis, from this family member. And I just told them, I'm like, look, I just filed the second report on you with the FBI. I mean, we've been going through this with them. And it's still not getting through to anybody. If anybody sees it, please let Luxembourg know I missed having a chance to negotiate with them. They shut my phone and I can't use any of my cards or anything. They left me with $35 in my pocket, basically, nothing much else. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not even certain why I'm being prosecuted like this. Not that anybody's brought any criminal or civil accusations against me. They're just hassling the fuck out of me constantly. So thanks everybody. I may post additionally if I have more thoughts tonight as I'm going through all this stuff. I just want a life. I just want a human being and be treated like a human being. God, it's ridiculous. I mean, nobody is just gonna allow me to be okay. I want to be there. I hate being injured.